My patience is at an all-time low.
Hi, my name is Karma, and you probably know me from absolutely nothing. Maybe my tiny Instagram account, possibly. I'm not gonna lie, my 13-year-old self, who was obsessed with YouTube and all the YouTubers, would be absolutely jumping for joy at the idea of me starting a YouTube channel. Me at 23, kind of terrified, you know? I've been doing short form content on Instagram for quite a while, and jumping to YouTube's a bit intimidating, especially when I already have such limited time working a full-time job and trying to be an artist on the side. Can't believe I said artist, but you know, I need to accept that I am one and stop being afraid of the word. This whole social media thing and producing art continuously has definitely taught me that you just need to jump in and fail and fail and fail and fail before something sticks. So I don't really have a goal for this channel. I don't really have a goal for my art even. I mean, I don't have a style. I don't have a complete direction. I love dark art. I like bright art. I love painting. I love lino cuts. I love everything. So I think I'm getting really comfortable with the fact that I don't really have a goal or direction, which can be very difficult because everyone tells you persistently that you need a goal, you need to know what you're doing in order to achieve. And I just don't believe that's my specific process. At the end of the day, I'm such a productive and self-motivated person that I don't know if a goal is necessarily what I need to work towards. Of course, I have things that I want in life, but I don't think I need that in order to succeed just yet. And this channel might just turn into a dumping ground of time lapses of my artworks and expressing random thoughts and opinions. But if it turns into something, it turns into something. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I might as well just try instead of thinking, oh, what if I did a YouTube channel? What if I did a YouTube channel? You know, even though we're like 2 minutes in, I should probably tell you what I'm painting. I am painting a little fungi, you know, because he's fun. Oh my god. This was a completely random photo I took out on one of my many nature walks with my partner. I think we were camping actually. I can tell you the exact location. Give me a second. For your information, the photo was taken at Animal Creek, which is located North Sunshine Coast, Australia, on my partner and I's first and last so far camping trip where we forgot literally everything and didn't even have pillows to memory. The way this painting tested me is unbelievable. And I'm not gonna lie, all my paintings test me, especially this year. I keep challenging myself, and each painting has kind of been an upwards battle and a good upwards battle. But this painting was ridiculous. It has given me the absolute hunger to do more kind of close up nature paintings instead of far back landscapes. This is my very amateur painting and artist opinion, but I feel like with landscapes especially, landscapes can have a lot of detail to them, but at the end of the day there's a lot of kind of creating the impression of texture and creating an impression of distance or color, or you know, you can have a very detailed landscape but you're not about to be painting every single line in a mountain, let's say, because that would ruin the distance aspect of the artwork. And that's probably what I found so challenging about this painting, because I've done so many landscapes and kind of practiced that. I'm by all means not an expert when painting landscapes. I still struggle and will struggle with further landscapes. But with this artwork, there's so much going on in the background, like so many little things and so many little details. Now, I could probably have painted all those tiny little details, but that's not the kind of artwork I wanted it to be. I didn't want it to be a hyper, like, detail, realistic artwork. And it still is a realistic artwork, but I didn't want to get totally lost in the details. So I had to paint the details while not painting absolutely everything. And it kind of looks like I painted everything now that I'm looking at it now. But in the moment painting, I was like removing things. I wasn't completely copying and pasting because I was just trying to get the general idea of the main like leaves or funguses. Ew, fungi. Why do I say funguses? in the background and kind of the main vines that were in the composition, especially in the background, because obviously the foreground is mainly this enormous, beautiful mushroom. So I'm trying to almost create a frame around it, because that's what the photos, like the background is just a beautiful frame of nature to the mushroom. Oh my gosh, what is this tangent? There were so many points while painting that background where I just wanted to scrap the whole painting and I wanted to start over, because I kept building on layers. And to be fair, this artwork, like, I am thoroughly impressed with how this paper held up. Like, this is not expensive paper. This is Reeves cheap, maybe hot pressed 300 GSM paper, which is like one of the highest GSMs you can get for like watercolor and gouache paintings, for water-based paintings. But it held up and I was really putting it to the test. I was layering so much paint on top because I kept redoing things. I kept layering things. Like, I was really pushing it to the max because I couldn't see the final end goal. So I just kept layering and layering. And I love layering. I think that's my favorite part about gouache, is that you can layer it so much with the correct technique. But I think I just kept switching between the incorrect technique, the correct technique, and just kind of winging it, which is not a bad thing. But I definitely was pushing this paper to the limit. And in some areas, I had to leave it be because I've put so much paint on those areas that when I was painting on top of it, there was no kind of movement in it. Well, there was, just not the movement I was after, because I was just painting on so many paint layers as opposed to painting on a few paint layers on top of paper, which was making it very difficult. I wish I could have shown you like the painting process of those background areas, because it was just such a battle. And I'll show you some images of the painting throughout the process so you can kind of see how many layers I had to build onto in order for me to figure out my idea and figure out how I was painting, because that's all I was doing. I was figuring out as I was going. I mean, I know my basic layering techniques, but this is the first time I did a painting like this. So I'll show you those photos, but oh my gosh, to add on to more difficulties, I clearly don't know how to mix colors, and I'm practicing that now because I'm going through an art block, so I'm practicing the basics. But leaves, painting leaves, every single leaf that you see in this painting was such a battle, and I redid leaves. Like, that's where the thickest paint is on this artwork. I redid leaves over and over. I would have to stop it, let it dry, go back. Am I completely blending it? Am I doing some patchwork? Am I doing some highlights? What am I doing? Like, I had to redo those leaves so many times because the color wasn't right, the texture wasn't right, the kind of aspect of the leaf, like where its dark areas were and where its light areas weren't right. Like, these leaves are so thick with paint, it's ridiculous. And I don't know how I had so much difficulty, but green is definitely, for me, the hardest color to mix. And I think the hardest color to kind of, because you want it to look natural, but you still want the beautiful brightness that green is. But anytime I mixed a bright green, I was like, this just looks so unnatural. It was just so hard. And the leaves really took me out. And it was quite funny because once I finished that bottom section underneath the fungi, I felt so confident. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, my ego was through the roof. And then I moved on to that top right green section. And my goodness, I was at that 4 hours trying to get it to look, because there's so much happening. So it needs to look busy, but I'm not about to paint every single leaf and vine in there for it to look busy. So I just kept painting. And I remember I mixed this one color, like this one kind of a sage gray green, and then started putting that in random places across it to kind of add a highlight, and somehow it pulled it all together. Like, I mixed one color after all my layering. I kept thinking, this is looking terrible, this is looking shit. I mixed one like sage gray green and then scattered it across the right area, and suddenly it pulled it all together. And I was like, oh my gosh, all that struggle and like that one color solved everything, and the placement solved everything. It's so funny how a simple step can tie everything together or absolutely ruin everything at the same time. On a more positive note, I'm sorry, the roosters are going off in the backyard. You're just gonna have to live with that. This is my YouTube channel. deal with the roosters. Well, that really, encourages people to stay. On a more positive note, the tree trunk with all those textures, all those squiggle textures, was so satisfying to do. I enjoyed every single second of it. It was beautiful. I feel like I really need to address the Skyrim video that's playing in the background of this, time lapse of this painting. So when I'm painting, I will listen to, one of three things. The first one is, long form, video essay content on YouTube. Oh my goodness. Absolutely in love with it. What type of video essays? Very much varies, okay? I listen to a wide variety, but my favorite is probably video game explanations and video game story retellings. Oh, incredible. I have watched the 5-hour Metal Gear Solid video by Genji, I think his name is. I will also, I'll confess to you, I do also watch just random gossip videos about online people that I have no idea about. Watch them, judge them. It's my little version of Keeping Up the Kardashians. I mean, you take everything with a grain of salt, of course. You don't know anything in reality. But that's another one. And then also Mike's Mike. Let's discuss Mike's Mike, mate. He is doing God's work, okay? I've watched so many videos on TV series that I've never watched ever. I mean, Pretty Little Liars, never watched it. Loved all his videos. What was the other one? Bloody Gossip Girl. Oh, amazing. Loving his videos. And he started Lost. Oh, love and life. These TV series that I've never watched, that I'll never put the hours into. Love just getting, an hour-long video on a 2-season recap. Just my kind of content on YouTube now. It's transformed. Maybe on my Instagram account or in another video, I should share all the long-form videos that I really have enjoyed for all the painters out there. I don't know why I'm assuming you're painters, but you're painters to me. If I'm not watching YouTube long-form content, then I'm listening to one of two Spotify playlists that I have created and still building onto. One is an enormous playlist with all the albums, songs, and artists that kind of inspire me, and that's ever growing and is beautiful. Oh, so many different genres in that playlist though. So it's definitely an acquired taste. And the second playlist is a soundtrack playlist with video game and movie soundtracks. Let me tell you, the Minecraft soundtrack for painting, especially intricate line work, is phenomenal. That man, whoever he is, has done an incredible job. Takes you back to your childhood, just makes you feel so good while painting. It also has the Don't Starve playlist soundtrack, and has a few of the Studio Ghibli movie soundtracks, because they, again, phenomenal while painting. Just could not rate them enough. I'm gonna be honest with you now. I mean, more than halfway through this video, but you will not see the entire process of this fungi being painted, because my beautiful amateur YouTube skills means that my batteries ran out of charge. My camera batteries ran out of charge the day that I was actually finishing this artwork. Of course, I will still share a clip of the finished piece, but no, you don't get to see the whole time lapse of it. I will try again in future videos. I don't know when I will be painting again, because I'm currently going through a beautiful art block, which I didn't think, I was very ignorant and I thought I wouldn't have this issue, but in hindsight was kind of expected, because this year especially, I've pushed myself with a lot of artworks and I've continuously produced artworks that I'm really proud of. This year, 2023, probably has been the very first year that I'm actually really proud of the art I'm creating. Is it all the art that I want to be creating and all that I envision in my brain? No, but I'm finally finding some pride in the work that I'm producing, which I think a lot of beginners deal with, and a lot of artists in general. Imposter syndrome is not a joke. It's not fun. It's not great to pour hours of work into something and not be happy with it or not think it's good enough. But this year I can say that a lot of artworks have been successes so far. So it was kind of inedible for me to experience an art block because of how well this year has been going, and also just because of how consistent I've been. I think I've been truly consistent with art for probably 2 years now, And I've been truly consistent with producing content for, I want to say, a year and a half. I want to say 2, but I did take quite a few like weeks on breaks from it. But I have been continuously producing content now for a while. And let me just say, for anyone who is not producing content as an artist, it gets easier. It gets so much easier. Like, before, there would be such a mental battle of like, how do I make content about this? But I think once you've made content so much, it's really easy when you start an artwork to be like, oh, I can make these 4 videos about it. And it just becomes kind of second nature. Obviously, that's not the best. Like, you shouldn't be stressed about filming absolutely everything, but it does at least get a little bit easier. As for the art block itself, it's not as if I've kind of lost my creative intention, or I don't know how to be creative, or I don't have ideas on what I would like to create. I have tons of ideas. I have a sketchbook with so many artworks I could be working on, so many pieces I could be trialing or progressing. It's just painting specifically. Like, I have tons of lino pieces in the background that I could be working on and I could be doing, but I'm not motivated to do them just yet, because truly all I want to do on the weekend is paint. All I want to do on the weekend is paint. But the last few times I've tried to, it feels like I've almost forgotten how to paint. And I know that sounds stupid and kind of like you're literally watching a video of me paint. I know how to paint. I know how to paint. I know how to layer. I know I'm not an expert, but I at least know how to do it. But for the past few weekends, it feels, when I have a piece in front of me, I just don't know how to layer, or I don't know where to begin. And yes, to a degree, it's like that for every artwork. Even if I don't know what I'm doing with an artwork, I can figure out the next step. I can move forward. I can build up a certain area, go back to another area, kind of just build and build and build until I start seeing the final piece. But I think I'm putting so much pressure on myself because I have all these original ideas that I want to work on. But maybe, again, it's the imposter syndrome. I don't think my skills are good enough to work on these artworks. So then when I'm trying to paint them or trying to try something new with painting, it's like my brain like gives up before I even begin. I don't know how to describe it. It's so difficult, but it feels like my brain's just giving up before I even mess up, which is not a great feeling. But I think to build a bit more confidence, for now, I'm doing a lot of color mixing and color trials to try and understand color mixing further and color theory, because I think that's something I am lacking in and something I would like to improve on, because there is so much impact you can have with colors. So that's something I want to try. And I think sometimes I do jump into artworks a bit too quickly without doing some trials. I want to practice and hopefully achieve like blurry backgrounds with gouache, which I know I've tried to look up like blurry backgrounds and stuff with gouache. Like, I know it's something hard and not something I've seen done often, at least with the artists I've seen, but I think it's something I want to test and really master, especially if I could master it in certain nature paintings and have like a blurry foreground and a crisp background, or a blurry background and a crisp foreground. It is something I would like to master. So I think I just need to be a bit more patient and do all those trials and make all the ugly paintings. Once I finish my color mixing trials and all those charts, I would really like to start, not finish, that'd be a bit too much, but maybe start the original piece that I've trialed in the past before the end of the year. And then hopefully that would be my next YouTube video. I'd want to do one video with voiceover and then one video with just really nice background music, so you can just get a full time lapse of it without any speaking, because I know some people really like that. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm just seeing what sticks and experimenting. I probably should have done some research on how other artists show off their artworks in a video, but I thought I'd just wing it and just show you the artwork in an unedited video in the shade and in the sunlight, because I feel like it makes a drastic difference, especially on video. In person it doesn't, but on video it does. But it If you want to hear me rant again, then I guess subscribe. The end. Not the end. You can see stills of this on my Instagram because I know the video shaky. @KarmaCreates.